Camper Radio, episode 14. Come on, let's go camping. Yes, we are back once again. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Happy Camper Radio Show. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. And yes, my friends, you can be one too. Daniel, you're sitting over here in total awe. You know, and I'll tell you what, we've kept a big secret away from you for I don't know how long now. But, you know,
I'm in the closet, Skip. I'm in the closet.
Let me turn your mic up there so we can hear you a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Ooh, look at me. I'm in the show.
It's about time. Yes, but, you know, Daniel, I'll tell you what, before we actually get into the show itself right here, we want to go ahead and let all of our listeners in on something that we have been planning here for quite a long time, and you've been kind of kept out of the loop on it. That's by design, too. We are finally in our own designated studio here at the Happy Camper Radio Show. Can you believe that?
We're prime time now.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, you know, this is something, this is like the final phase of the project, even though we never talked about it here in previous weeks, because it did take quite a long time to actually get the logistics for this program underway. We went ahead and also had on the back burner, and we knew it was going to happen eventually, we needed some studio space where we could actually have a room specifically designated for the Happy Camper Radio Show. If anybody had been to our website before, which is happycamperradio.com, and clicked on the studio tour button, you would see all of our equipment and everything where Daniel and I did our show from. But what a lot of people never realized was the fact that we were using borrowed space. In other words, we were using a corner of a room that was designed for something else, and that was just borrowed space. We needed our own studio, and we finally got that. And it was a long time in the planning, and a lot of work had been put into this particular project, and everybody but you knew about it tonight when you came on over here to do the show.
I don't know what you're talking about, Skip. I thought we were in the backyard around a fire. When are we going to light that fire? I'm getting kind of nippy now. Come on now.
You're ready to go back out to the...
I'm tired of the illusion, you know?
Well,
I want the illusion to stay. I like it. I like the illusion. I'm not tired of it. I want the illusion. I want the fire. I'm getting cold. Where's the fire? Come on, Skip.
I told you last week we were in a burn ban.
Oh,
you know, but
man.
I'm going to tell you what. Hey, not at this particular campsite. Let's go ahead and get this particular campfire lit right up here. Oh, there it goes.
Whew. Okay, now I feel better.
I do too. And you can't beat that for sure. So anyway, Daniel, let's talk about the program we had last week. Now, you know, one of the good things that we did have in our favor was the weather.
Yeah,
and
it was raining today, so thank goodness it wasn't this weekend, because it would have not happened.
Yeah, I'm telling you that right now. You know, this was just one of these weekends that, you know, the rain was in the forecast. I think there was a 30% chance all weekend long, and fortunately, knock on wood, it didn't happen.
Now there we go.
Yeah, I mean we were just lucky as possible. Now what I was very happy about was the fact that I got to sleep out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah. Rubbing in my face.
Well, hey. You know, you the thing is, you put your tent up there, Daniel. You know, but you only slept out one night. And did your wife have anything? Did she have anything to do with that?
No.
And what was this? And what was this? This periscope sticking up out of my yard?
Periscope, Skip, you're driving me
Daniel.
crazy. It's a telescope. Skip. Oh my gosh.
I don't know what the heck that thing was.
Periscopes are in the submarines. Come on now.
Well, you know, all I do know is the fact that I went to bed early.
You did?
Yeah.
Man, we were up all night partying. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go to bed right now. It's gonna go sleep. Like, yeah, happy camping. Yeah, look at the stars. And we had a super moon last weekend, and that's why I got my telescope out, because the moon was as close as, I don't know, it's been in a bunch of years and stuff, and it looked really cool, and the sky was clear. I'm telling you, Skip, the camping gods were looking down on us, and I liked what they were looking at.
Well, they did us a lot of justice. I got to tell you that. I've had a great time out there. You know, and I got to give credit where credit is due. You know, our resident non-camper expert party planner, Lori, she helped out quite a bit.
She filled the chair.
She filled the chair that night.
There you go.
She did a pretty good job of helping us get that together. And of course, I had to do my part. The only problem was I was not allowed to touch that grill except for the burgers and hot dogs.
That is ridiculous.
And those burgers and hot dogs were pretty darn good, if you ask me.
They were pretty good. You had a lot of food. I couldn't believe how much food you had.
And we did have a lot of food left over, but right around the time we went ahead and did the show, I was on my last leg. I was really wore out, and I know I get on your case about all this electronic garbage and everything you like to bring along to the campsites. But I gotta say, this was one good night that you did have your iPhone with you, because what a lot of people didn't realize was the fact that I was back there with a microphone in hand. Mm-hmm. We had a laptop computer that was only monitoring the audio portion of our show, and I didn't have all the monitors that I do like I have in the studio here. And when it came time to read some of the paperwork that I had in front of me, specifically the featured campground of the week, I'm reading off this piece of paper that I believe had a font size of about a 0.2 -3. And I was squinting it. I was looking at it and everything.
Is that a real number, Skip? Did you just make up a number?
Well,
I think you just made up a number.
Let me put it to you this way, Daniel. I couldn't read it. All right. There's just no way.
What happened? Tell me more.
I was actually reading off this piece of paper, and the lighting was coming from the tiki torches. I forgot to turn on the patio light before we started the show. And along came Daniel with his iPhone.
Technology.
And a flashlight. And Daniel, and I'll tell you what, I wish somebody would have got a picture of it, because it was funny as could be. I'm standing there, and I finally was able to start reading it when Daniel began holding his iPhone directly over top of the piece of paper, and we were able to knock out the show right there at the very end. But we had a great time last week, and I hope you folks did too. When you participated in the Great American Backyard Campout, and I can't wait for Backyard Campout 2014. And you know something, Daniel? I don't think we're going to wait till then. We'll probably be camping out a few more times back there. What do you think?
Maybe.
It worked out well.
It did. I can't wait till camp out. I don't know, July or August. I'm always ready for camping.
Well, I can't knock it, because I had a great time, and I know you did too. And your wife Deidre, she had a blast.
So can I tell everyone my secret? About how I slept really good that night? So what I did is I have a futon in my house, and it's got a really, really comfortable bed on it or whatever. And I just drove it over to Skip's house and put it in the tent and slept on that. Oh my God, it felt so good. It felt so good. So I am a fan of the foam mattresses. The air mattresses, no. Foam mattresses are where it's at. That's all. I had to put that in there.
In other words, you don't use a cot like I do.
No, I am not a cot man.
Okay.
Anyway, weren't you sharing your cot with someone? What was going on with that?
One of your cats managed to work its way into my tent. And this wasn't just one night. This was 3 straight nights in a row.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, one of ours came to us, so the love was spread throughout.
Yeah, well, I can't knock that for sure. Anyway, 404-537-2267 is our phone number here at the Happy Camper Radio Show, and you can give Daniel and I a call anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Leave us your name, where you're calling from, what part of the world you're in, that is, and leave us your camping question on your voicemail. Of course, we'll take your comments and feedback too anytime at 404-537-CAMP. You can catch us online at www.happycamperradio.com. and catch us on Twitter at Camp Talker. Daniel, I got a shout out here. We have got some great listeners out in the state of Texas.
Texas?
Yes, and I would like to go ahead and give a shout out here to Scoutmaster Robert Jutras of the Harker Heights, Texas Scout Troop 234. Robert and his troops out there are listeners to the Happy Camper Radio Show, and we are so happy to have them on board here. Robert, hope you and your troops are having a great time out there, and make sure that every camping trip that you go on is a safe and prosperous one.
I'd like to know something, because when I was in Boy Scouts, when we went camping, and all we did the whole time was cook, clean, do a few lashings, look at a few manuals on, I don't know, how to do a tourniquet or something for first aid, and then we'd be eating again. It was ridiculous. So I would just be interested to know what Boy Scouts are like now, and if it's if it's changed at all, and what the new merit badges are. I wonder, do you think there's a technology merit badge?
Well,
I can get that one, Skip. What do you think?
I know this much, Daniel. It's been decades. I mean, decades since I was in Scouts, and I'm sure.
I thought you founded Scouts, didn't you?
No,
Skip?
no, I'm not that old.
Oh, sorry about that.
But no, we back in my scouting days, we had a great time, and we had a lot of great outings that we went on. But over time, you do get older, but you'd always maintain the drive and the force behind camping, and that is Scouts itself. And and like I says, I had a good time, and I like to apply a lot of what I've learned over the years in scouting to what I do in each and everyday life.
Yeah.
So. But anyway, that's what it's all about. Now, Daniel, one of the things we're going to be talking about today on our show is this coming week we have another holiday coming up, which means it's going to be another off day for you.
What are you trying to say, Skip? I get a lot of off days?
Well, you probably get more than I do.
Wow. Hey,
anyway,
I'm a government worker. What can you say?
Well, that does happen. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is, being the fact that the 4th of July holiday is coming up, we're going to be out there cooking out. We're going to be camping out.
You're cooking out, Skip? What are we making this week?
I haven't decided yet, but
I'll be over here.
It'll not be any of the leftover food from last
that's
week,
all gone, isn't it?
It is. But anyway, what I'm going to be doing here is I'm planning some cookouts, and I think Lori's going to probably plan the menu, and your wife Deidre probably will give us a hand there too if you're going to be joining us. That is,
of course.
And don't be a bit surprised if you look in the backyard and you see my tent popped up again.
Oh boy!
Yeah.
Wow! So, look at you.
Yeah. So you mean that if it all goes well, that's exactly what may happen.
All right.
Okay. But being the fact that there's going to be a lot of people camping out this weekend, keep in mind that the 4th of July falls on a Thursday this year. So a lot of people, I believe, are probably going to start their holiday vacation early. They may start Wednesday. Especially those who are planning a 4th of July camping trip may plan on leaving out Wednesday and not coming home until Sunday. The campgrounds, I expect, are going to probably be very busy this year. Now, being the fact that we do have the 4th of July coming up, we have one big safety issue that we need to very much consider, and that's the fact that a lot of folks out there will probably be setting off fireworks. And fireworks in the hands of somebody inexperienced, in the hands of somebody who don't know what they're doing, can be disastrous. Now, I have always said that if you enjoy fireworks, and believe me, I was a kid at one time, and I love to set off fireworks. Today, it depends on where you live and what type of fireworks are available. Some states ban them altogether.
Now, Skip, you grew up in Pennsylvania. What were the rules up there? Because I'm a native Georgian, and we always had to go to South Carolina, North Carolina, and Alabama for our fireworks.
It's been about 23 years since I lived in the state of Pennsylvania, and I don't think you were allowed to do anything up there.
No, that's ridiculous.
But no, and it's probably the same. They're the same way down here too. I mean, they are very strict when it comes to fireworks in the state of Georgia. But on the other hand, if people cross the border of Georgia and go into one of the other states, you'd be surprised what you can buy over there at a line of fireworks. The problem is a lot of people buy them across state lines and bring them back into the state, thinking that's going to be okay, and the risks of them getting caught with illegal fireworks are going to be minimal. But if you go out there and you start setting these things off, if you go out there and start upsetting your neighbors, or worst case scenario, one of your children get hurt and you end up in a hospital emergency room because of fireworks, you may have police intervention there. And that could open up a whole brand new can of worms. So, you gotta keep in mind if you're going to set off fireworks, first of all, you want to obey all applicable laws. You got to find out exactly what type of fireworks are legal in your state. And you've got to make sure that you have available water source. You got to make sure that you have adult supervision. And again, here I am again, Daniel, talking about safety. Safety is what
I
it's
know
all
you
about.
got your hat on and your vest.
That's right. And I'll tell you what, and I'm not going to knock that one bit because, you know, I've got some statistics here right in front of me. You know, just take, for example, the Consumer Product Safety Commission estimated in 2012 that 8,700 people were treated in hospital emergency rooms for injuries associated with fireworks. Now get this, 60% of these injuries occurred in a 1-month special study period around the 4th of July. So what does that tell you?
It tells me that people were playing with a lot of Roman candles.
Yeah, well, they're playing with a lot of fireworks, and a lot of people were doing things that they probably weren't supposed to be doing. Now, the fireworks can have some very, very serious consequences. If you're going to be going camping somewhere this weekend, okay, you're going to want to make sure that you check with your campground, whether it be a private campground or a public campground. You're probably going to find out that consumer fireworks on their premise is probably going to be not allowed because of all the campers that are around you, considering that your fellow campers, some of the ones that are camping next to you, maybe some of the ones that are camped down the street from you. You're probably not going to be allowed to set those fireworks off in your private or public campground setting. Check with them before you do anything. And again, adults, you've got to supervise your kids when it comes to fireworks. Make sure the fireworks are legal. Make sure that you're supervising your children. You don't want to end up in a hospital emergency room. And something else I want to point out also, you know, they've got here, and you can look at some of the things I'm talking about here by going to our website at happycamperradio.com. Click on Skip's Corner under the link section, and you'll find it right there under fireworks safety. The Consumer Product Safety Commission has a bunch of articles right there that you can take a look at. Find out what states allow fireworks, which ones don't, as well as some of the incidents and stories that they have here regarding fireworks. And I don't want to really get into it here on the show because, again, you know, this is a family-oriented show, and we want to keep things positive and upbeat. But I want you at the same time to make sure that you're aware of some of the hazards that are out there when it comes to consumer fireworks. We don't want you to end up in an emergency room. We don't want your kids to end up in an emergency room. The safest option that you have available is going to be attend one of the professional fireworks shows in the area that you're going to be camping. And you may be surprised if you're camped out at a state park. They may have fireworks displays right there for you to see. Now, Daniel, have your parents ever taken you out on the 4th of July to a fireworks spectacular event somewhere?
We used to have this tradition back when I was a kid. We'd always go to a Braves game, and afterwards they'd have a big old fireworks show, and that was really cool, and we did that for a few years. But then afterwards we go to the Justice and Administration Center and watch the fireworks display there. And then when I was in high school, I worked at Stone Mountain Park. Y'all can look it up. But I worked there, and I worked the concession stand every 4th of July. It was the biggest time of the year for Stone Mountain, and we would get on top of the roof because it was so crowded those nights. And we would get on top of the roof and watch the fireworks at night, and it was just the coolest thing that, you know, I've ever seen. But like usually they have fireworks after the laser show. It's a little show that they do on the side of Stone Mountain. But like on the 4th of July, they really do it up really cool, and it's really nice. It's really awesome.
And because of my age these days, I really enjoy my firework displays by sitting at home and watching them on television.
Boo.
Yeah, I know there's nothing like actually being there. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, Daniel, it's when you go out there to see one of these events. And they're getting better and better every year. I don't know. They have a lot of different displays. They choreograph music with them these days, and you know, and they I'm sure that costs a lot of money to put these shows on. But you know, to get caught up in that traffic out there, oh my heavens, that can do a number on you.
Nah, you You'd be all right.
Well, you
It's
know,
one time a year. It's like Christmas, you know.
maybe one
4th
of
of
these
July
days,
comes but once a year.
maybe one of these days when I am finally a grandfather, then maybe when they say, "Hey, Granddad, you want to go see the fireworks?" I think
I think they're doing something in our town on the 4th of July. I think they're doing something like in the square or something. I don't know if you know about that.
No, I can't say I haven't really paid any mind to local affairs here, but my heart and soul is usually out in the woods somewhere, and that's where I keep myself focused these days. But anyway, what I'm trying to encourage each and every one of our listeners to do is to make sure that when you are out there with your kids this 4th of July, or any time that you're out there celebrating, you don't want anybody to get hurt, and we don't want anybody to get hurt. And, and it's all about safety. I try to keep my safety hat on all the time, and I try to encourage Daniel here to do the same. And, and for the most part, he's doing a pretty good job. I noticed your wife got her voice back.
She did. She found it. It was in the closet
I'll tell
somewhere.
you when she came over here last week, and I heard that her voice just broke it up to pieces. I said, "Oh my seven!" She took out a piece of Daniel's pants one
Oh
day.
no.
But then I come to find out she went to this little teeny bop concert.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Skip. Now, I think the main question that I would have for you on fireworks safety is, I've dealt with fireworks my whole life, right?
Right.
And say I light a firework, right? And then I step back. I go back like 10, 15 feet, right? And then nothing happens. How long do I wait before I approach it? What do you think I should do there? Because I've got a little stash of fireworks that I plan on setting off on the 4th. I'm just wondering, when I light a firework and nothing happens, how long should I wait before I approach the firework and do something with it?
My question would be, Daniel, is it worth it to approach it at all?
I got to approach it at some point in time.
Well,
because I want to continue the show.
I would probably even forget about approaching that particular firework. If it didn't go off, if it was a dud, for example, all right, I would just go ahead and say, well, hey, there's a bad firework out there. This one, you write this one off. I go up there and I throw a bucket of water on it.
Okay.
To be safe.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Because there have been too many cases already. And, our listeners can read up on some of these here by going to the website there and read some of these publications, specifically Fireworks Publication 12. And you'll find it on that page on our link section at happycamperradio.com. It can tell you exactly what happened to some people who actually wondered why the device didn't go off and approached it. And, bad timing. It went off and someone got very, very seriously hurt.
So basically what you're saying is always have like a bucket of water or something.
It will be the same as you setting and lighting your campfire. All right? You want to be safe. You want to make sure that you have a water source available.
Right.
Because eventually you're going to, call it a night. And you're going to be going home and you're going to break camp and you got to make sure that fire is completely out.
Yeah. Right.
If that firework did not go off, and again, I'm not encouraging people to go out and set off fireworks on the 4th of July. Again, if it were me, I would just take my family to a professional display and enjoy it there. Because, if that's the safest way to do it. But, to answer your question specifically, I would make sure that, before I approach that firework, I would douse it with water.
Okay.
To make sure it is out and totally out.
Okay.
So, that's how that works. 404-537-2267 is our phone number here at the Happy Camper Radio Show. Hope you're all having a great time. I hope your 4th of July is going to be a safe one. Hope it's going to be a happy one. We're here in our new podcast studio, the Happy Camper Radio Show, and it is time now for our featured campground of the week. And this week, we are going to the state of Minnesota, to the Cross Lake Campground. Daniel, this is a great place to go camping. And if I were out this weekend, I don't think I would get in there because I went through just about all of their available sites There's a total of 118 sites at this campground, and just about every one of them are all taken. The reservations are in. But Daniel, I'll tell you what, I had an opportunity to go through this, and believe me, this is a great family-oriented campground. It is a pet-friendly campground. Again, with 118 individual sites, it sits on Cross Lake, and it's nestled along some pines, some eastern banks of Cross Lake. You can find a tremendous amount of options, a tremendous amount of features at this individual campground, should I say. They have 13,660 acres of water and 119 miles of scenic shoreline. And this is a collection of lakes that stem from the Mississippi River. There's a total of 13 individual lakes that are combined into this one particular body of water. A lot of great recreation up there, a lot of beaches. They've got picnic tables, they've got accessible fishing docks, 2 boat ramps, pay telephones. They have just everything that you need. Now, one of the things they want you to know about before you head out on the road, all right, they do have a firewood restriction in effect, which means, we've talked about that before in the past. Mm-hmm. That is so important that you do not bring firewood to the campsite from outside that area because of invasive insects and disease. They want to avoid that. So you're going to have to get all your firewood locally. If you do happen to be going out this weekend, I would highly encourage each and every one of you to make sure that you hit your grocery store early, get all your supplies, get everything you need, and get settled in and stay put. Unless, again, you're going to go out and visit one of these individual firework displays that I talked about, because there's going to be a lot of people out on the road this weekend. And, you don't need to be going out, and you don't need to be trying to run around and trying to get back into your campsite, because I can tell you some horror stories there too, Daniel, especially at one of our local parks here. I remember camping out over there on the 4th of July, and I had to run out of the park for something, and getting back into the park was next to impossible because they've had so many people from out of town that were trying to get there to see that massive firework display. And it made it real difficult for somebody like myself who is camping out there for 3 or 4 days. So what I'm trying to tell all of our folks you want to do is, if you're going to get out there, try to get everything you need ahead of time and stay put unless you're going to go, like I says, away from the area to see one of your firework displays. But, this is a great place here to go camping if you're looking for a great weekend away in the state of Minnesota, or if you plan on visiting there somewhere down the road. Okay, it's Cross Lake Campgrounds. It is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And as always, if you have a campground that you would like for us to feature on the program, by all means, drop me an email, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. Make sure you include a link to the website, and we can go ahead and toss that on our homepage under the featured campground site. You never know when you're going to find that, or you're going to be featured on one of our shows. Anyway, Daniel,
I just want to say one thing.
Yeah,
I believe that this is the Christmas of camping. More people go camping this week than any other time in the whole year. This is our holiday right here, Skip.
This is it. This is the Christmas camping. Well, Daniel, if you're going to go on out there, take your Christmas tree and take your Christmas lights, because you're going to have all the electrical devices and everything to plug in. You may as well bring your tree along too.
Yeah, that's cool.
On behalf of Daniel, we'd like to thank you for joining the Happy Camper Radio Show. Don't forget, catch us online anytime at www.happycamperradio.com. Catch us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. And yes, my friends, you can be one too. You're listening to Happy Camper Radio.